I opened the door to my death and my family's. The words echoed in my mind as I turned the handle, unaware that the night would be our last together. In the quiet village of Chipomo, nestled deep in Zambia's lush landscape, life for Kunda and Mwaba seemed peaceful. They had been married for 8 years and were blessed with two children, an 8-year-old boy named Chanda and a 6-year-old girl named Wansa. Kunda was a truck driver, traversing long distances, often spending a month away from home before returning to rest for a week. Mwaba managed the household with strength and grace, raising their children and ensuring everything was in order. One night, Kunda had just returned home after a long journey. The family had shared a joyous evening meal, catching up on the weeks he had been away. As midnight approached, the house was silent, with only the gentle hum of the night to be heard. Suddenly, a loud knock shattered the stillness. Mwaba jolted awake, her heart racing. She nudged Kunda, who groggily rose from bed. "Who could it be at this hour?" Mwaba whispered, anxiety lacing her voice. Kunda rubbed his eyes, ready to head to the door, but Mwaba grabbed his arm. "It's too late for anyone to be knocking. Let's just ignore it." Before Kunda could respond, a voice boomed from outside. "Mwaba, it's your boyfriend. Let me in. I've come for a sleepover, like I always do when your husband is away." Kunda froze, his blood turning cold. He looked at Mwaba, who stared back at him in shock. "I don't know this man, Kunda," she insisted, her voice trembling. "If he claims to know me, tell him to come back in the morning." But Kunda's trust had already been shattered. "You wouldn't refuse if you had nothing to hide," he muttered, fury darkening his eyes. Ignoring Mwaba's pleas, Kunda stormed toward the door. He flung it open, ready to confront the intruder. But what he saw chilled him to the bone. A gang of men, their faces twisted in malice, stood on the doorstep. Kunda tried to slam the door shut, but the men were too strong. They forced their way into the house, overpowering Kunda and Mwaba. The children, startled by the noise, huddled together in a corner, their eyes wide with terror. The gang was ruthless. Kunda and Mwaba were mercilessly attacked, their desperate screams swallowed by the night. As the men ransacked the house, Chanda, trembling with fear, seized the only chance he had. He crawled through a small window at the back of the house and ran into the darkness, his small feet pounding against the earth. He ran until his lungs burned, not stopping until he reached the neighboring village. There he collapsed, exhausted and terrified, in front of a kind old woman's hut. She took him in, offering comfort as the boy sobbed uncontrollably, the horrors of the night overwhelming him. The next morning, the villagers of Chipomo awoke to the grim reality of what had happened. The once happy home of Kunda and Mwaba was now a scene of tragedy. The gang had taken everything of value and left nothing but sorrow in their wake. Chanda was the sole survivor, his life forever altered by the events of that dreadful night. The villagers rallied around him, ensuring he was cared for, but the scars of that night ran deep. As the years passed, Chanda grew up with the memory of his family etched in his heart. He vowed to seek justice for his parents and sister, never forgetting the moment when his childhood was stolen in the dead of night.